Aloha, and good day to anyone that is within the sound of my voice. I've been asked to comment on what I view as the desired goals of my administration as we are fast approaching its end. As I'm aware, and many of you should know, we took an economic downturn in fiscal year 2009 that none of us could have ever predicted would occur, and that it would be quite as encompassing as it was. Up until that point, I think it's safe to say that behavioral health administration and its various divisions and organizational units had a particularly favorable position both within the Department of Health and within the state's organizational structure as a whole. First of all, because we've had the support of the governor's office on a lot of the matters that affect us and our funding. We've had the support of many key legislators, and more importantly, we've had the support of Director Fukino as we exited several court cases. And the reality is that from the time we started, which was around 2003, until fiscal year 2009, we saw tremendous growth in our resources. That was in part very good, and in a lesser degree not so good, because that increase was largely based in general funds. And when the economic downturn hit, it really was related to the number or amount of general funds that we had the experience to receive. Back in fiscal year 2003, 2004, that area of time when we started, the overall budget for the Department of Health was roughly about $372 million. Today's budget that was put forward in fiscal year 2011, we have gone back almost to those same numbers. I believe our general fund for the entire Department of Health is $383 million. So the reality is that we're just about where we started when we all assumed the responsibilities of the offices that we all hold. For me, the growth between 2003 and 2009 was just phenomenal. I believe our highest point, we were receiving as a Department of Health $454 million in general funds, and of that amount, behavioral health was fortunate enough to have more than 60% of those resources dedicated to its programs. Now, despite the fact that our budget for fiscal year 2011 is reduced down to $383 million, we grew our population just in adult mental health division from a little more than 4,000 individuals to more than 16,000 individuals receiving our services. I think we've done a really excellent job working with consumers and the advocates, family members, to try to understand what that recovery is or might be. Oftentimes it's very individual by each person whose lives we touch. I think what we need to do and must do is anchor on an understanding of what recovery and resilience means so that we can convey that to the broader general public that we are obligated to be accountable to. And so once we're able to do that, to then form a link between what that definition or concept of recovery and resilience is, whether it be in the lives of people or in the lives of the systems of the bureaucracy. And when we do that, and we're accountable, we need to look at the service array that we're delivering and whether it achieves the desired outcome in some meaningful way. If it does, and we're all doing good, we can kind of pat ourselves on the back and try to embellish that service array or that effort that we're doing. If it's not doing well, then we need to question, we need to raise probative questions. First, we need to start from ourselves, and we need to ask ourselves, what is it that we're doing right, or what is it that we're doing wrong? And then we need to also question the individuals that are linked with us to provide the service and ask those same probative questions. And hopefully in asking those questions, we'll come to discoveries that will allow us to know what we should continue to do as a service and what we should not be doing as an ongoing service. I've got really excellent staff that I know will still be here when I'm gone, and they will continue to work on some of the very principles that I'm talking about today. And more importantly, I've been very privileged and blessed to be working with a number of consumers and families and advocates. I've come to know the providers in our community so much better, and I've come to respect them for the hard work that they do. But my message to them is that we all are part of the same team, and that we all have to continue to work together across our organizational borders to really understand what has to happen for the state, so that we can make sure that every consumer has the ability to live the life of choice in the community, and where the rest of the general public are not feeling afraid of having people in the community with them, and where they're not stigmatizing anyone who is marginalized by a diagnosis of mental illness or alcohol or substance abuse dependency. And so mahalo for everything that has come to me in terms of the blessings of collegiality with members of my team, members of the Department of Health, people who work in the governor's office, and the community at large, particularly those individuals whose lives that I happen to touch with the job that I do. Thank you.